Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. Now, last session, if you recall, you began your practice for the Fall Festival, having assembled a team and everything. We are going to jump ahead to you going to bed, where I require a wisdom saving throw.
I feel like these are becoming more frequent,
Do you?
and I feel threatened by that.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I want to make sure I actually hooked up the sheet to the VTT. I did. Wisdom saving throw. Oh no. We're off to a great start.
That's
I
real
rolled a
bad.
2.
You did roll a 2. Okay. As you fall asleep,
Oh boy.
the darkness takes you, as it always does, smoothly and welcoming after the strenuous day that you've had. The fights took a toll out of you, and as you lay down and go to sleep, you realize that toll was not just taken out of you. The darkness of sleep vanishes, and you are suddenly moving quickly. Wind is blowing past your face. The sky is dark, full of stars, and around you are trees. You are in a forest, or at least you're near one. You are atop a horse.
Ooh.
In the dark light of the night, the horse appears to be brown, dark brown. And it's familiar to you. Its gait is something that you're used to feeling as it gallops through the night. Around you are other riders. They also feel familiar to you. What is concerning is not what you see immediately around you, but what you realize you know you're heading towards. As you ride hard over these rocky plains, you crest a hill, and you are right. The feeling of anticipation being replaced by a nausea. As you look over the hill and see there is a massive battle occurring in front of you. Armies, both of Ceresian soldiers and hordes of undead. From here, which you are about 200 feet from the edge of the battle, you see there are people, men and women living, that are engaged in the clash. And near them are countless undead of various kinds you instinctively know just on sight. Zombies, wights, ghouls, ghasts. You can even smell the stench of the ghasts even from here. And maybe that's simply because you've just faced them in the training room. As you look upon the battle, you suddenly hear a call to look out from one of your nearby riders, and they caught sight of a massive stone flying towards you.
Oh shit.
I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Was Lily better at this than I was?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. 10.
It's your dream.
Oh god.
The massive stone slams into your horse, sending you flying. Where the horse was underneath you and between your thighs, you are now airborne. You can feel the pain as the stone had scraped hard against your legs and knees. And you land hard. You are jostled and you can feel blood in your mouth. You hear a call and a shout, and then you are picked up, hauled up onto your feet, and then pulled onto another horse. Your leg is broken.
It was my horse.
You don't look back as you
Aw.
are riding fast. There is definitely a pang of loss, but more fear as you are heading quickly toward this engagement. The rider in front of you is familiar. Dark hair, long, in a ponytail, reaching down low on his back, beneath a helmet.
Huh?
Full plate armor. A massive halberd across his shoulders. You have a fondness for this man. You feel maybe a little bit safe riding behind him on this horse. He looks over his shoulder at you. You can see fear in his eyes, but he smiles anyway, trying to reassure you. As you're approaching this battlefield, you're now only 70 feet away, and you see a massive swath of creatures. And you begin the twisting of a spell as you draw your arcane focus from your pocket. A rod with a black stone upon it. As you focus the magic, the stone glows purple in a spell that you both don't and do recognize. The magic twists between your fingers and you send it out, willing it upon not the undead, but the fallen individuals near them. They rise, joining the fray, fighting off the undead from the Ceresian soldiers. And confusion immediately strikes as you animate dead a swath of about 10 armed men. The shouts of confusion quickly vanish as the battle resumes. The Ceresian soldiers are not one to question help. As you are riding, you suddenly feel a hot press in the center of your back. And you look down. There is a crossbow bolt sticking out of your clavicle. It's not your first wound. It won't be your last. Your rider companion hands you a potion. As you drink it, your other companions ride into the fray. Staying atop their horses, they pass through the edge of the battle. I need you to roll me a perception check.
Okay. And I also... Is the man who I'm riding with the same man from my dream previously? Yes. Oh, shit. Oh, really good. 20. That's terrible.
You notice, high above the enemy, the undead army, a pair of white glowing eyes high on the horizon. Your real target. You point it out to your rider. The Nightwalker is approaching. The rider nods, reaches for a stone, and speaks into it. Over the din of the battle and the fast movement, you can't quite hear what he says, but you see your rider companions who are already in the fray suddenly disengage and move towards you. As all 5 of you begin forcing your way around to the right-hand side of the battle towards the Nightwalker, but you know you're not heading straight toward it. You know you are trying to get a flank. And as you do, you pull your spellbook out of your pocket. You flip it open, passing, looking at all the various spells that you know and spells that you have prepared. You find the right one. A spell that you recently made. Anti-magic zone. As you pull that page up into your face, you read it quickly, raising your arcane focus, and as you cast it out, the spell never finishes.
Oh. What happens?
You are knocked unconscious by something. You are flat on your back. looking up, not from your bed, but in the forest. It is cold, it is gray. Your head hurts as if you just got hit very hard by something. What do you do?
Does my leg still hurt?
No.
She would sit up and we would look at ourselves. Hands. Mostly.
You're wearing what you wore to bed.
We're still missing a hand.
Yeah.
Great, alright, so I know who I am. I would look around and hope my eyes land on Lily.
She is there. She's leaning against a tree. She's facing it, her hands against it as her head is bowed. She looks tense.
I think Lorna would crawl over because she woke up on her back.
The pain in your head ebbs, strengthens, ebbs, and then fades away. As if you've already forgotten what it was that bashed you in the skull.
I would, when I got closer, try to put my hand on her shoulder. Well, one hand.
So you stand up.
Is she standing? I thought she was crouched.
She is standing, leaning against this tree, like her hands up against it, her head bowed.
All right. Well, yes, I would in that case stand as well.
Okay. She doesn't recoil from your touch, but she doesn't turn to look at you. She feels cold. Not like a corpse, but chilly.
Did you see that too?
Yes. I am frustrated.
The spell didn't have time to finish.
No. I did not die that night. I was swatted from the horse by a giant.
What about him?
He did not die either. But the plan failed, and we had to retreat. Without the anti-magic zone, the Nightwalker was too strong.
What would the zone have done?
Protected us from its aura of destruction. Given us room.
Was that the same Nightwalker you were looking for with Sabbatha?
Yes.
And this was after what happened to her?
Yes.
But before that man died?
Yes.
Who was he?
She looks like she struggles. As if she's trying to say a word and she can't. Rhaegar.
Rhaegar. You remember his name?
I do. I hated him at first. He was frustratingly confident and optimistic. Always. I came to rely on that.
Did you love him?
I don't know. I know I counted on him. I trusted him. I don't know if I loved him.
I know it hurt when he died.
Oh, yes.
I felt that.
One wound among many.
Yeah, I noticed you have quite a few.
There are many things I don't remember, Lorna, but as we explore these, and I remember more, I remember why I was so avid to avoid the pain.
It's my fault that you're experiencing this again.
Yes.
But I don't want to stop remembering.
I know.
And I'm sorry.
She steps away from the tree and turns and looks at you. Her eyes twisted in not tears of sorrow, but pain. Eyes watering from physical pain. Are you sure you are?
I believe so.
Are you sorry that it hurts me? Or are you sorry for doing so?
She tilts her head. Is there a difference? These feel like the same thing to me.
That answers my question.
I'm sorry you're hurting. I believe that.
She nods. I am very tired, but I find no rest. Watching you struggle with your allies today reminded me of many of my own struggles. I'm glad you have so many you can trust. If even just a little.
I was gonna say, I don't know if trust is the right word, but I like them.
I do get an inkling of what you're thinking, Lorna. You should not try to deceive me.
I'm not trying to deceive you. I suppose
Then
it's not that I don't trust them, it's rather I don't think information is safe with them.
there are very few that I ever trusted with information. But there are many that I trusted with my back.
That's, I think, what the difference is.
I believe you trust every one of those you fought with today with your back.
Yes. I will agree to that.
If you didn't, I would say you are lying to yourself.
I'm really trying not to do that anymore.
It is a waste of time.
Right. Just adds more layers to unravel later.
That raises a question. Now that I have you here. Yes. These individuals that you work with, do you care for them? Or are you just using them?
I like to think I care for them. I've kind of struggled with the use word. Feeling like I'm using them.
All right. I will use a different word then. Do you rely on them to protect you without trusting them with any of yourself? Do you only show them the face that they want to see?
Or that I want them to see?
Mm-hmm.
She'll kind of droop and say, yes.
Be careful who you get close to. Because they only show you the face they want you to see as well. Some of them are much shallower and have less to hide than others.
Are you speaking in generals, or do you feel like someone close to me is like that?
Everyone is like that.
I want to be careful about who I get close to. But I feel like I'm struggling. I want so badly to trust people.
There's only one way to truly push someone until you learn that you can trust them fully. And that is to go to the edge with them. To face death with them. And if they stand at your side, willing to face it with you, you know the truth.
The problem with that is you're at the edge, and if they're not going to stand beside you, you could fucking die.
I believe that is one of the reasons why I had a contingency plan.
Which I still don't quite understand.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't have all the answers either, but the last time we talked about this, you were talking about the spell was different. You made it. It wasn't clone, like I thought it was. Like Remus thought it was.
I have thought on this. It was based on clone, correct, but it was not clone. It uses a lot of the same arcane signature. But simply put, you are not proficient enough with arcane literature to understand what you are reading.
And I can see to that. What I want to know is why wouldn't clone have sufficed? Why did you tweak it? What's the difference between me and a clone?
Well, I don't know if there's a difference between you and a clone. I don't know what happened with you. But what I do know is I was working on something big. Something very potent. Something that was rendered almost obsolete by Croesus's appearance. Yes, as Croesus and Tysus cleansed Ceres, much of my work was undone.
Can it be salvaged? Or is their presence impossible?
I don't know if salvaged is the right word. Maybe repurposed. Otherwise it would be obsolete.
Problem is, where did you leave it?
I don't know.
I figured that you wouldn't know right now.
I feel like this desk is important, though. And she gestures to the desk that is always here. Always half burnt. The symbol is incomplete and ruined on it.
The one the size of a body.
Mm-hmm.
The one you didn't have enough time to finish.
Correct.
I agree. I feel like that's important. I feel like I need to go back to Ceres, but I really don't want to.
This is not something we can rush. And should you return to Ceres, you risk being found by Remus. What did you say he was named now? Balin?
Balin.
Balin.
That's the name he picked. You know, he told me your name was Solana.
No.
Which, yeah, I realize that now. It didn't help me answer any of my questions before. I had a few more of your names, but I find it funny that a while ago your name was Nalina.
Perhaps he was inspired.
But that implies that he does know about your past.
That is what that would imply.
He'd have to. Or that's just a really weird coincidence.
Agreed. There's only one way to know, truly, and that is to have a conversation with him. Which I don't think you want to have.
Not in person, at the very least.
Oh, there are ways around that.
Like sending.
Sending is not so potent for this. One that might be of service to you is a spell I learned and used to great effect called Dream.
Lorna remembers the master's visit in her dream. She nods.
It's a potent spell that allows you to contact someone with no fear of being, well, captured.
I'm going to assume it's well out of my wheelhouse right now.
It is potent, yes. You will need to grow stronger. However, you are growing quickly, as the Mirror God Academy seems to know how to train wizards. It might be but a year before you can cast such a spell.
Right at that point, he'll find me.
Doubt it. The Master would never allow such a thing, or you are a waste of money. Money and time.
I have to have my faith in her, which is nauseating, but it's true.
I know the type. She would not waste such an investment.
Do you have any idea what that group of people was to you? The ones who were riding with you in that memory? Your friends? Your guild members? Did you pay them?
I need to make a roll. She shakes her head.
You don't know?
Don't remember.
It's okay. Did you know what name you had when you were with Rhaegar? Was that Adora?
You see, when you say Adora, there was a spike of her eyes twitch. And she holds her head.
Oh, sorry.
She doesn't stop holding her head for a long moment. She crouches down against the tree, and you can see tears begin to flow.
Oh. She'll kneel down next to her. Sorry, I didn't realize. I should have.
She shakes her head. She doesn't say anything.
I pushed you enough. I'm sorry.
She wipes her face and looks at you, eyes overflowing. You can see genuine grief, anguish. She wraps her arms around her knees and presses her head into her arms.
Lorna doesn't know what to do. She's not very good at this. I wonder why that... She's thinking to herself privately, I wonder why that name specifically is so hard for her. Maybe it's the 400 souls? I don't know. But she doesn't press Lily any further.
Okay.
Just sits with her. Looks at the table. Wondering what else she doesn't fucking know.
Okay. As you stay in this soul link near Lily, as she weeps, the occasional whimper, eventually you find yourself staring up at the ceiling of your room.
Fuck.
Awake.
Do I feel rested?
Yeah.
Okay,
You slept.
take it.
All right.
What day of the week is it?
It is a Wednesday.
I have class.
Yes, you do.
Do I have time to go somewhere before class starts?
Roll me a charisma save.
Oh boy. Get out of here, Lily. Oh shit, 10.
No.
My body.
You're almost late.
Oh fuck. Oh. Okay, well she's gonna hurry.
Okay. As you run in to Tabernac's classroom, having grabbed a hasty breakfast,
Up toast.
you gain 1 temporary hit point.
Toast.
Toast. You make it into Tabernac's classroom, and it is occupied by Hallowell and Callie. You don't see Tabernac immediately, which usually means he's down on his stage below. Callie's looking up at you as you enter, and she says, "Good morning, Lorna."
Morning.
How did the training go?
Um, well, I mean, not well as a precursor to a sentence. It went well, sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
mhm.
Who'd you have working with you?
I picked Sagona, of course.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Skolna.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
how'd you find her?
I had to ask around.
Of course.
I did not find her myself. I picked Anscombe
Uh,
and Tier, if you've met him. I don't know if you have.
I haven't met Tier, but I do
Rangers.
know of Anscombe.
Yes, I know you know of Anscombe. We'd had this whole talk about farm boys
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm. Are
showing
you
them
sure
what
you're going to be
for.
able to focus on the fight and not?
I didn't go down once, but Anscombe did. So maybe you should have this conversation with him about being able to focus on the fight.
Well, if he went down, I mean, that doesn't sound too bad.
Oh God. Just like Penn the player, it takes Lorna a second uh to realize what she's insinuating. And I think
She giggles
her
when.
entire face just like it's like a cartoon where it just rises up red and she just places her head on the desk. And
uh,
all Callie hears is that's not what I meant.
she actually is giggling at you. And as she does, Tabernac ascends the stairs. Good morning, everyone. Are you all prepared for our study?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I heard from Persh that your training went perfectly well yesterday. I expect you to perform more trainings in the future.
I want to actually win this fall festival if possible.
Good. Now, in the meantime, we will resume our studies into the alternate planes. Lorna, last time I believe you were practicing your studies on the Nine Hells.
Yes, I was.
And so now we'll move on to another.
Sure.
I need you to roll me a d12.
Okay. It tickles Eve. 7.
7.
7.
Okay.
It's gonna be something just completely ridiculous.
One moment, please.
No worries, I'm trying to placate my cat. She really wants to be part of this recording. No.
Okay. Interesting.
Uh-huh.
As you are looking at the various tomes of planes, you have chosen the elemental plane of water.
Okay. I don't think Lorna would be a very good swimmer.
Probably not.
Mm-mm.
However, I'd like you to roll me an investigation and a D100.
Of course. I'll do the D100 first. 49. And investigation. Oh my God. I'm not starting strong. 10. The second 10 I've rolled in a row.
Okay. All right. You spend most of your time in the first half of the class just searching.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, you do find a few manuals describing the water plane. It is an ocean without a surface. It is a domain of current and wave. It is a bottomless depth. There is no top to the plane of water. The endless ocean that felt as if you were submerged several feet in any body of water. There's no suns, yet the water itself seems to glow dimly with a bluish-green luminescence. Volumes of water at any temperature and salinity could be found if you knew where to look, or if you had a guide. There are many places in Amaranth where one can access the plane of water, most of them within the crystal ocean.
Makes sense.
The plane of water is well suffused with a unique magical reagent known as banisite. It is dissolved within it.
Like salt in a sea?
Yes.
That's really cool.
As banisite is accessible through the waters of the crystal ocean, it is thought that perhaps it was originally from the plane of water, or maybe one of the planes that nearby, which you learn the planes of ice and the planes of ooze are parallel to the plane of water.
Ooze plane?
There is an origin of gelatinous cubes and puddings and other entities that are literally just elementals of ooze.
Gooey boys. Is there an artificer out there who's made like a desalinator for the crystal ocean so they can just harvest banisite?
That's not in this book.
Oh.
So you don't know.
But that comes to her mind.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You also learn that the plane of water is also parallel to the planes of steam and salt.
There's
These
just
are-
a salt plane?
It's not a full plane. It's a
Mini plane
quasi
just full
plane.
of table salt.
It's a demi-plane, yeah. It is not a plane really worth going to. There are no living
No.
creatures in these demi-planes.
It's a shitload of salt.
But it is an origin for many magical spells. You learn that the value of the elemental planes is that the weave, the webwork between our plane and all the others, draws upon the elemental planes for all forms of elemental magic. And all magics are composed of various elements, whether they be of divination, transmutation, conjuration, doesn't matter. They draw upon the elemental planes. And the plane of water is one often used for life. Magic that restores health, magic that raises the dead.
I had a dream about that recently.
You did, oddly enough. Alright.
I think Lorna's mildly amused by the contents, but she doesn't, like the real life applications to her life, she's just not grasping.
Sure.
She's like, oh, the water plane. At least with the devil plane, the hells, she was like, well, that relates to me and this problem I'm dealing with.
Roll an Arcana.
Okay. Unless Tabernacle sends her immediately to the water plane, in which case I will eat those words.
19.
19.
As you are reading through these manuals, as you are searching through them, you find a symbol.
Oh shit.
You find a symbol that is remarkably familiar to you.
Uh-huh.
In these books, it is referred to mostly as how one brings energy from the plane of water. It is a siphon symbol.
Ah.
You remember it from your book.
You just had to immediately make me eat shit with the words I was saying.
You rolled Arcana. You realized it.
Where in Solana's journal?
It is amongst many other arcane signatures and symbols that are built within spells. In her depiction of the clone spell within the book, the clone imprint that you remember searching for, this symbol, this signature, is included.
Do I remember it in when I was going through Tabernacle stuff and I found a clone spell?
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember the siphon being part of that, or does that feel like an addition to Lily's that's different from
That's part of the clone spell.
Okay. So that's not something that clues me into more shit about
Correct.
that. Gotcha. She's like, oh, fuck, that's weird. I was just thinking about how this didn't apply to me. Maybe I should pay attention more.
As you are reading about the water plane, you also learn what sort of inhabitants are within the plane of water. Presumably, the water elementals are the largest domineering manifestations within the plane, but these also include massive creatures such as squid, kraken, aboleth, and leviathans. There is
Those
no
all sound
limit.
scary.
There is no limit to how large a creature can grow within the plane of water, so long as they have things to consume and energy to suffuse. Leviathans are known to be sentient condensations of elementals that have grown so large they develop vast intelligence beyond even that of squids and kraken. They have also been known to break in to the prime material plane. Should a leviathan, which takes the appearance of a massive, watery serpent that is invisible if you are underwater, they destroy those that they see as outsiders. And when they find themselves in the prime material plane, unfortunately, they have a tendency to grow insane without the constant influx of life magic from the water plane.
So it's bad news.
Yes, it is bad news.
Is that like a thing that people have to be like, we've spotted a Leviathan, we need to take care of this, like kind of like a Nightwalker?
No. If a Leviathan... Okay, so roll me an investigation as you look more into that. Specifically about Leviathans.
14.
Man.
I know.
It takes you a while. It takes you a while to find information on Leviathans. You do eventually find it, but it's just a matter of time. Leviathans, once they are outside of the plane of water, are on borrowed time. There's not enough magic in the prime material plane of... Well, water magic. There's not enough to keep them alive. And so, if Leviathan finds itself in the prime material plane, unless it finds a way back, its time is limited. It depends on how large the Leviathan is. If a Leviathan stays too long, they will either just become deceased, becoming water like the rest of the ocean, or they will split into hundreds of smaller water elementals, forms that can suffice off the magic that is in this plane.
Okay, so it's less, it's not great. Like, I'm sure anything in its path is not enjoying itself in the time that it is there, but it's not like a Nightwalker that his sole mission is to just destroy life as we know it.
No, not really. It is rare for a Leviathan to intentionally come to the prime material plane. For the most part, water in the depths of the plane of water and water in the depths of the crystal ocean look awful similar.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
they just slip through.
If it passes through the veil and it doesn't realize it, it will begin to starve.
Aw, that's sad.
Yes.
I think Lorna really enjoys reading about this.
The same cannot be said for krakens and aboleth, however. If a kraken or an aboleth finds its way in the prime material plane, it is just fine, as it now has new foods to eat.
And it will mess you up.
Yes. Aboleths, as you read about them, believe themselves even stronger than the gods. Kraken have no care for the gods. Instead, they simply want to devour anything they can find. They are intelligent creatures, but they are fueled primarily by hunger, whereas aboleths have much more intelligence, often criminally so, and enslave mortals to do their bidding, to feed them more food, fetch them more followers, create an underwater paradise of sorts for the aboleths. Krakens just eat. And it is at that point you realize time has passed. It is the end of class.
I enjoyed that. Finally a normal fucking class day for Lorna. Jesus.
Yes, finally.
No emotional breakdowns, no other things. Usually it's emotional.
As you look up from your books, you see Callie is also has books open. She's been reading, and you see that she stretches and says, "Oh, what plane did you get?"
The water plane.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. You?
Mount Celestia.
Right.
Less fascinating.
Well, I mean, you know what? I don't know anything about it. I can't try to comfort you.
I know all about it.
Now.
Now, created by Aegir, very much lawful good. All the heroes, when they fall, they go there. They have endless feasts, and it's really quite boring. Anyway. And Callie just hops off the stool, gathers up her things. Halliwell is still reading. He doesn't notice that class has ended. And Callie looks at him, rolls her eyes, and walks out of the class.
Lorna would make her way to the door as well, but she would turn and look at Halliwell and then cast Mage Hand just to tug on his earlobe before she quickly dashes out of the room.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
Really good. 24. I see all things.
As you tug on his ear, and he's startled. His hands flap up, and you see that the book that he was reading, the large, what looks like basically arcane description book, there's another book, a smaller one, hidden above it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And you described running out of the room.
You dick. No.
You do know he was reading another book that was clearly not about a plane.
Oh no! I have to write a note about this because I'm gonna go bully him about what he was reading. I'm literally writing a note about this. Halliwell was reading porn in class.
You have no idea what it actually was.
It's just a theory.
A game theory.
A game theory.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so she's actually going to hurry to the Warlock classroom.
Okay. As you run to the Warlock's classroom, thank you. Hold on. You run down the hall, and as you reach the door, you find yourself face to face with a woman who looks gray. Dark hair with white highlights. She looks at you, and her face is a little gaunt. She's not unattractive, but she is definitely a little off-putting. And as she looks at you, she says, "Hello."
Hi.
I don't know you.
No, well, we met in passing. When I came to talk to Elise before, if you remember.
I think I'd remember you.
She, like, looks over her shoulder, like, well, I mean, I remember you.
She looks at you and... I'm Dog.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Dog. I'm Lorna, a wizard student.
Oh, I do remember you. And she just walks past you.
Can I insight check that?
Yeah.
I'm curious what I said made her remember me, if anything. Terrible. Natural 1. She's very creepy to me.
She is creepy.
She just kind of, alright, and enters the Warlock classroom.
Okay. Elise is there. You see that she's kind of gathering her things and packing up. And she looks up. Oh, hello, Lorna.
Hello, Miss Elise.
Can I help you?
Probably.
That's good. I hate to be of a lack of use. What do you need?
I don't think anyone would accuse you of that. So she's gonna shuffle closer and say, like, I suppose my first question is, the last time we spoke, You professed some interest
Mm-hmm.
and said you would talk to some people, and I was just wondering if anything came of that.
I remind you, it's been 2 weeks.
Sure, but to be fair, a lot has happened in 2 weeks. Maybe things just happened very quickly to me and not other people, but that was just one thing. I have a couple things.
I am happy to provide you an update, if that helps.
Yes.
I've sent out feelers. I've had a conversation with a few agents of ours that happen to work in the city of Dis. Do you know where that is?
Is Laura? Yeah, yeah, she read about it. She read about it though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She definitely does. Yes.
They are carefully poking through information. I have not heard anything yet.
Mhm.
Hushen is a careful devil.
Um, there was also the matter of I told you a few names of my predecessors. You said that you were interested in that.
Do you have more names?
Yes. And that's not a full name, but I have a
Okay.
time period. 5511. Shit. Nope. I'm crossing my wires, but 5511 was important.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit. Hold on. She's going through her own notes as I go through mine. Um,
I've pulled up your notes.
yeah. So Lorna says 5820 was Nolan Callahan, and approximately 25 years before that there was a woman named Adora. Who is the one who made the deal with Hushen?
Roll me a charisma save.
Oh, god damn it, I said it again.
You sure
Decent.
did.
A decent 17.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, I'm hurting Lily every time I think about it.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Remind me those years again.
Elise says that?
Yes.
Can I insight check her?
Yeah?
She seems, I don't know. Yeah, 23. 22, sorry.
She's curious. You've sparked something. There's recognition on her face.
Oh no. Okay. So she says, oh, about Nalina or the one before that, the one with Hushen?
The one with Hushen.
I don't have
Adora.
right. I don't have a, a concrete year, but I know it was about 25 years before 5821. There was a town and something about 400 souls.
You see that she furrows her brow. Okay. That's fascinating.
Does that ring any bells for you?
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately. Great.
Yes. I was young. I was working as an ambassador of sorts. I was traveling a lot between my hometown and Port Refuge, which doesn't exist anymore. I had only just struck my own contract.
With your patron.
Mm-hmm. This is so... It was the year 5681. I remember it vividly. I was on my way. I was on my way to Tuskel's Lane, which was a small town. I was there on my way there to find a rare magical component, a Draconis Fundamentum. I had heard, or rather, My hirer had heard they had one from a blue dragon, which a hero had recently slain and sold there. It was on my way there that the town was destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
I arrived at a... It looked as though a meteor had fallen upon it. It was a perfectly round hole. I didn't know what to do. But as I returned to my hirer, he mentioned the name Adora.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if it meant anything at the time.
How did your hirer know that name?
I don't know.
Like you went back to them and said the town was gone, and they said.
I remember specifically what he said. It struck me as very strange. He said that must have been Adora's work.
Oh boy.
It was offhand, which is why it struck me as odd. I said, do we know of any other place we could find a fundamentum? And he arranged for me to sail across the sea. That was my first trip to Kota City, actually. But that doesn't matter. Master Luthen is dead now, but he was the one. He was the one who had hired me for that.
I see. Oh, did it enter history about what happened to that place? Or did people just forget about it?
She shrugs.
Well,
I
name
never
helps.
looked into it.
I can now, at the very least. This has actually been... the fact that our paths crossed in such a way is very strange. A little funny to me.
My memory is as my patron provides.
Is it? I don't know how, I don't know what the decorum here is. Am I allowed to ask who your patron is?
You can ask.
But...
I don't know why I'd tell you.
Right. That sort of leads me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
A woman visited me recently, and I discovered that she has a patron.
Uh-huh.
And I would really like to know who that patron is. But she said it wasn't a fiend. And that's pretty much all I have to go on, except for what she could do.
Well, to attempt to surmise the patron of another warlock is terrible manners. But that doesn't mean but that doesn't mean I won't help you.
Okay. I don't really know what your moral lines are, but this woman, and she'll raise her nub.
Ah.
I would really like some dirt on her.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what's fueling me right now.
I see. So you are out for vengeance?
I don't know if vengeance is the right word. Maybe leverage.
And would you be in danger if I give you this leverage?
Does it matter if I'm already in danger?
I suppose if you're already in danger, then what harm could it cause?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Very well.
I mean, clearly, she doesn't fuck around.
Describe to me what you know.
Lorna will give as much detail as she can recall of her witnessing the fight with Lilith and her smoky form. Particularly, she will elaborate on the quality of the blade that she seems to wield and its properties. And
She will
she'll
ask,
gesture to her face as an example of what it can do.
"Did you see the blade before she used it? Was it on her hilt? Was it on her hip? Or when she used it, did it appear as if from nowhere?"
Can Lorna recall that?
Yeah, she wore it on a belt.
She would explain that.
You see Elise is like tapping her lip as she thinks. Roll me just a straight charisma check to see how much information you can get across and how well you describe it.
Come on, Lorna. Terrible. God damn it. I need more, like,
You have an inspiration.
inspirations. Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna question you on that.
It would be your last one.
Boy, howdy.
You describe it perfectly.
Hmm.
Let me roll.
Yeah. Eat this lava cake.
Elise says, "I would bet she has a pact with either an earth or a water djinn."
Like a genie?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you say that?
The turning to dust.
Dust. I thought it was smoke.
You described it as such. But it's too fast.
Do you
That's my
think that
guess.
her weapon has anything to do with?
It's likely just a rapier of wounding or something.
Oh, it wounds all right.
I see that.
Yeah, now I could never be charismatic.
My
Such
first
and so
guess,
forth.
with how you described it, was it would be a hexblade. However, one key feature to hexblade warlocks is they hide their weapons in an extra-dimensional space. And when they require them, they summon them to their hand. They would never wear them, because the advantage of such a thing is the surprise.
Is there anything useful about a djinn patroning?
They can be very flexible. They can have a more hands-on approach than many other patrons. As they are worldly creatures, they are likely on the same plane as the patronee. They can even do things themselves with their patron. They don't have as much power as, say, a fiend or even an archfey. But the fact that a genie themselves can handle an issue themselves on this plane is a great boon to any contractor.
If they needed backup,
Yes.
that patron could just hop right in. Do they have any weaknesses?
Yes.
She leans in immediately.
I doubt she'd ever let you see it, but she has an urn with which she takes refuge. A genie's lamp.
Right? Like in a story.
It's very much real. It's part of how they recover their energy. They take refuge within the lamp.
You just go inside it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pocket dimension.
Yes. They turn to smoke and whoosh into it and everything.
That makes sense. So, and that's a weakness? Seems like a strength to me.
If you take the urn from them, or destroy it, they grow exhausted. They grow weak. Until their patron can either grant them another urn, or they get it back from you.
Now that is something very interesting.
Now, if I'm wrong, you are gambling here.
Oh, certainly, this is not a problem for anytime soon. I'm still looking for a second hand.
I also warn you, now that you know this, if this is the sort of individual who takes spiteful revenge to remove a hand of someone, be careful to guard this knowledge, if I am right.
So don't tell anybody else.
Yes.
You're well connected, right?
That is my job. Yes.
Um, do you know influential figures of Ceres? Maybe not the above board type.
I have been known to have conversations with those in power.
Does the name the Master mean anything to you?
She smirks a little bit. Yes.
Lorna just indicates with her good hand on her non-existent hand that that's who she's talking about.
Interesting. Tread carefully.
I'll be more careful in the future.
She has a lot of strings tied around her fingers.
Mhm.
She has a good amount of influence in Silver's Reach. Do you know the Copper Mask?
I've begun to learn a little bit.
They are the largest criminal organization in the world, and they are founded here in Aurelia. She is the reason they don't stretch to Ceres.
Ah, that's pretty impressive.
It does mean if she falls, a lot of things will change quickly in that power vacuum. But at the moment, you've certainly picked a unique one.
Does knowing who I'm talking about help you with the guess of who her patron might be? Did you even know she had one?
Oh, it doesn't really make a difference. I'm fairly certain you are dealing with a pact of the genie.
I see.
But a
But
strong one.
yes, undoubtedly. But did you know she had a patron?
I suspect it. It's a
Okay.
confidence.
Someone's got your back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's how clerics feel.
Don't compare us. That's a different sort of confidence.
Sorry.
Some of us are actually good with people.
Uh, this has been illuminating. Um, the last thing I wanted to bring up was we started this conversation with you saying that there are people poking through Hushen discreetly. Would it be stupid of me to try to directly reach out to him to have a conversation?
To Hushen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you have signed a contract with him, I imagine he expects some sort of conversation at some point.
Well, he said he'd find me.
I will say, at the nature of your contract and the amount being so vast, should you reach out to him, you might spark his insistence upon completion.
I think he's got enough of a look at me to know that he wouldn't get much at this point in time.
That doesn't matter to a devil.
Well, I thought maybe if I presented to him a name, and more concrete details about our contract, he might actually be inclined to give me my half of the contract.
I doubt it. He
So
has
if we
you at a
just-
disadvantage.
He does.
I doubt he would give that up anytime soon.
Until I remember what I knew about him or what he does that pissed him off in the first place.
That would be key.
Right.
Devils won't lie to you, but they have no problem not telling you the truth.
I'm familiarizing myself with that fact, yes.
It is a difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if that would be pointless.
I don't know if it would
In
be
fact,
pointless.
well, it
Certainly
might be
expedite
harmful.
things. Yes, that is what I
Yes.
think.
So I think I'll avoid that. I'm glad I asked you before I just decided to do it.
I'd hate to lose a student so quickly.
I'm not even a warlock.
You are still a member of the Merigard. Perhaps one day you will be looking out for a dog. I heard that little conversation you had. She is a little concerning.
Well, she didn't remember me, and then she did, and I'm kind of wondering what triggered that memory, but probably doesn't matter.
I'm working on her.
Doing a great job.
Some require more effort than others. As Elise does not make eye contact at that moment, just looking off into the distance.
I'm sorry to trouble you after class. I just needed to ask you these questions.
I'm glad I could be of aid.
You have been immensely so, thank you.
Was there anything else?
Not at present.
You know, if you should so choose, I could arrange a contract for you as well. You certainly have the mental fortitude for it.
Do you have a patron in mind?
Well, it might be of good interest to have a devil at your back as well.
One that's better than Hushan?
Indeed.
You said he had like somebody he answered to, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Someone who is on our payroll.
Lorna looks deeply intrigued by this thought. It's like going around the middleman and going straight to the boss.
It would be a way around it, yes. Now, if this is a course you do choose to take, you must first finish your exam with Tabernac. We don't allow crossing the streams. But once you have founded yourself as a contractor, my services are available to you in full.
I don't remember what his name was. Is this person someone who I could have like maybe a tentative conversation with ahead of time? Like,
The
would
fiend
he
which
be
is on
interested?
payroll.
Would he be even interested in me?
He is always looking for new outlets. But you can have a conversation with him, indeed. However, I would say perhaps wait until you are in a position where you can actually offer something.
What is he like?
Patronese.
And what do they give him?
Knowledge. Sight.
Well, she'll kind of scuff her foot on the ground and say, I mean, not to be like a braggart, but full of knowledge.
Lorna,
Yes.
I don't mean to point anything out, but you currently have an unfulfilled contract with another devil.
Right, but that's...
To use a contract with a greater devil as a workaround is a tactic you could use. But you should not rush this sort of thing for fear of the first devil trying to kill you.
Right.
Because that is not breaking your contract, it is instead going to higher up and pulling rank. But devils don't like it when you do that.
No.
And while the Merigard Academy is safe, you may eventually leave these walls. Do you understand?
I do. I really do. I'm only laughing because it'd be funny to just add more shit on top of the pile.
You and I have very different methods of finding things funny.
Oh, it's not funny. I'm terrified.
Okay.
It's just ironic. My ability to feel fear it's becoming weirder and weirder as more terrible things happen. So.
I see. How about you focus on your studies with Tabernac, your training with your group. I heard you did visit the training room. I hear everything.
Clearly.
I wouldn't be much of a spy master if I didn't.
No, don't take offense to this, but my initial knee-jerk thought would be that Mr. White would be the spy master.
There's more than one.
Oh. So did you know that the master came here?
Yes.
You, so did you know that that's what I was talking about even before we started this conversation?
I had my suspicions.
Okay, just checking.
These sorts of things I'm not going to confirm until they are said to me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially not with one as influential as Hale.
Hell, does she use that name all the time?
That is her name.
Oh, I thought she was just fucking with me.
No, that is her
That's
name.
her real name.
Hale, yes.
Does she have a surname?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh my god.
She likes to go by Hale the Master.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was just an alias and
No,
not her actual name.
that is her actual name.
That's actually a little funny. I guess I am finding weird things funny these days.
I think so.
I haven't eaten yet, so.
Why don't you go get yourself something to eat?
Mhm. Thank you so much. You are a fount of knowledge.
I'm not just a pretty face. And she sits back.
No, but it's very pretty. I'm gonna go now. And
She
she leaves.
shakes her head like she knows how much
Yeah, she
history
knows.
is in you, so it's kind of like a jeez.
Uh-huh. Mm, tasty.
Okay.
Okay,
What are you
okay.
doing next as you leave the Warlock classroom?
She's looking for Tier.
Okay.
She's
Uh,
assuming he'll be in the mess hall.
all right. It is around 5 o'clock, so it is time for dinner. As you head to the mess hall, you are immediately struck by the smells of buttery potatoes and
Yum.
onions. It is very strong. And as you are looking around, you see that dinner tonight is profound. It is roast chicken with enormous amounts of these. They almost look like clouds. Just this massive platter covered in potatoes with blended onions within. And the garlic
Yes.
smell is almost overpowering. And then the corn and roasted asparagus and various
Is it a
other
holiday or
vegetables.
did they just do really well today?
You see Halliwell Halatheth is in the
Aw,
kitchen.
he's so cute. Um, is there like how does this kitchen layout look? Is it like an open window, like at a diner? Or...
Yeah, it's a very long, wide counter with a half window above it, and you can see
Mhm.
all the way into the kitchen, all of the ovens and the stoves and the massive plumbed, basically faucet at which that just gives them all the water that they need. You see Halliwell is over by one of the ovens, and he's pulling out another chicken that he has set on top of the oven and is now basting with huge amounts of butter. He
It's
actually
literally
has
so cute that he does this.
a massive blob of butter that he's just rubbing into the chicken.
She's actually gonna go up to the window,
Okay.
and call out, Halliwell.
He turns and looks at you and he says, "Oh, hello, Lorna. Are you
I
going to
haven't.
tug at my ear again?
You don't know if that was me. That could have been Callie.
You were the only one in the room, and it wasn't
Okay.
Tabernacle."
I wanted to compliment you. I haven't eaten yet, but it looks amazing.
Thank you. It's an old family recipe.
And I also have a question about our studies today, if you could help me.
Oh, hold on. And he, like,
Hmm.
instructs a golem to do what he's doing, and he takes the gloves off and kind of, like, sets them to the side and approaches you and says, "What is it?"
She leans against the counter, just like elbows up, just tilts her head and says, "What were you reading?"
He laughs and looks down at the counter and he says, "I was reading my old family's cookbook. I couldn't remember
Ah,
if it was chives or scallions that went into the basting."
I think Lorna would just kind of like blink because she did not expect that. And she would just lightly touch him on the shoulder and say, "I like this side of you."
I He like looks at you with a furrowed brow and he says, I feel like I should say thank you, and I also feel like I should tell you to go away.
I like this. You're very charming sometimes. Just, I'm always caught off guard by it.
Well, thank you.
I can't wait to eat. And she'll turn around and she'll go get some food.
You like hear him say, that was odd. And he picks up his gloves. You get yourself a big plate of chicken and potatoes and vegetables, and roll me a
Do I see
perception.
my dashing ranger friend? Perception. Yeah, probably, if he's here. 21.
With a 21, yeah, he's here. He is sitting amongst Anscombe and Skolna and Sagona at the far table.
Is there a spot next to him?
Yeah.
Okay, first I want to stand back, because this is my new MO now. And I want to use Mage Hand to tap him on his opposite shoulder from the side I'm approaching. So that I can sneak down and sit next to him. Like, I'm gonna pull Skolna.
Roll stealth.
11? That does not beat his passive.
No, it does not.
Damn.
He sees this purple hand just on his shoulder, and he goes. He just looks right at you as you're creeping up.
She'll look very disappointed, but she'll sigh and sit down.
Hello, Lorna.
I thought I could give you a hand.
Oh.
I'm coping in my own way, all right?
Right. He does actually chuckle at the terrible joke. You're very cute sometimes, you know that?
Yes.
Have you tried this chicken?
No, I'm actually looking forward to it. I just
Nine
talked to
hells,
Halliwell
it's
about it.
fucking amazing. And he
She'll
like,
eat.
it is delicious. And as you eat it, you gain 11 temporary hit points.
Holy fuck. That beats the toast I had.
Yes, most things would, actually.
Oh.
As you're seated at the table, you see Skolna, Anscombe, Sagona, and Tier are all kind of in good humor. It looks like they've been talking and chatting and laughing. And Skolna has basically a leather pad. Her plate is pushed forward a little bit. It's like half eaten. And you see that on the table are, at a glance, 23 daggers. Just on this leather pad. And, like, she's pointing to each one. And now that you're at the table, you can hear her say, found this one off a bandit. This one I nicked off a guard last time I was in the pokey. This, and she's, like, going over how she got every single dagger.
That's so cute.
And Sagona's next to her, like, looking at them, and she says, where do you keep all this hardware? And Skolna says, that's for me to know.
Trade secrets, right? I really hope
Right.
you have like a bag of holding on you.
She just shakes her head and looking at you.
Oh,
I have
now
to
my
reach them all.
imagination. My imagination's running wild, Skull, and I need answers.
That's for me to know.
She just looks disappointed. But she will look at Tyr and say, after dinner, do you mind coming with me
Tyr raises an eyebrow.
for a conversation?
All right.
I'm sorry if I made that weird.
It's just, I've heard many ways to proposition someone. That's definitely...
I'm not used to inviting people places.
All right. Is this for lascivious activity, or is it something serious?
Is he saying this loud enough that I feel like other people can hear?
No, it's pretty quiet.
She will look at him with a flushed face and say, well, I will. She doesn't have an answer right away. And she says, I had some questions for you, but now I'm distracted.
Right. Think about it. I'll follow you either way.
Okay. And she'll just shovel a huge mouthful of mashed potatoes into her
Isn't
face.
there a spell that you could cast that will let you just speak to me and no one else? Isn't that a thing wizards can do?
I mean, maybe some of them. I can't.
Might
That'd
want to
probably
pick
be
that
very
trick
useful.
up.
Yeah, that would probably be very useful. She actually, it's really awkward because she has to stick. She only has one hand, so she sticks the spoon into her mouth, and then she starts digging in her bag for her like notebook,
Yeah.
and like awkwardly, like with the hand maneuvers are very uncomfortable as someone who is still acclimating, and she plops it open and down, and like there's a list basically titled like spells I need to learn, and she adds
As you
message
pull
to
it up,
that.
Anscombe sits down on the other side of you. Hey,
She still has a spoon in her mouth.
good to see you too. He's
She'll put her pen, quill. What's the standard here in Amaranth? Are
pen.
there pens? Okay, she puts the pen down and takes the spoon out. She's sorry.
It's
Uh,
fine. I know you need a hand.
I've already made that joke.
Well, I wasn't here for it. And he's like, pushes the plate over and begins eating dinner. And he says, "That elf guy, he makes a mean chicken. Are you kidding
No,
me?"
he doesn't look like he could cook. He looks like people have cooked for him his entire life, but
Yeah,
books and covers and judgment and all that.
I'm not familiar with that one. And across the table, Sagona says, "Don't judge a book by its cover."
That's what I said. I just didn't waste time.
And like Anscombe just looks like a train has just passed by. He's like, "All right," and he just eats dinner. Um, as you sit at the table with your training group, stories are passed around. It's good humor, laughter is had.
We're bonding.
Yeah, you learn that
Yay.
Sagona spent most of her life underground, not by choice. Her family is kind of an underground dwelling dwarven clan, and for the longest time they thought the sky would fall on their heads. And it was Sagona who was one of the first to emerge because she wanted to see the storm.
Oh.
And once she left, she never went back because the storm spoke to her, which is why she is a cleric of Nier.
Yeah, that tracks. That's very cute.
That's what most of the conversation's about, is Sagona telling that story, and everyone else in the group asking her questions about it and giving her a hard time, calling her a rock dweller and stuff like that. She does at one point shock Anscombe, but good nature is had, and at the end of dinner, Anscombe says, "Right, I'm going to go get a drink at the Merry-Guard. You're all welcome to come with me if you'd like."
Sure. I did have a thing beforehand, but I'll probably meet you there.
Tier says, "Oh, yeah, I have something as well. But we'll be around, I'm sure." And the group disperses. And Tier looks at you and says, "Right, what do you want?
Well, when you put it like that.
You want my ear or my something else?"
Uh, she'll start walking toward her room.
Okay. He follows you. You make your way to your room.
Mm-hmm. Now. No, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, if you thought maybe we'd be safer at the Druids' classroom, but this is likely safe enough for whatever it is.
Not too worried about it, and she'll like. There's the chain is around her neck, but it like dips into her blouse, and she'll pull out her amulet.
Oh, right, yeah, you did mention that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if there's an invisible person in here, she'll like whip her head around. I can't really do anything about that, but I mean, feel free to check.
Tier looks at you with a raised eyebrow, but he starts to look around.
I mean, the last time I asked you to find an invisible person, you did, so.
He takes his time and carefully looks around the room. After a long pause, as he walks around the pillar in the center of the room, investigating the other beds, he says, "I don't think there's anyone in here."
You and me. All right.
He sits on the bed.
She'll sit as well and say, this might not even take too long. I don't even know if you have an answer for me, but I thought I'd be stupid not to ask as I'm putting my pieces together. And she'll like put it and say, Priscillus.
Yeah.
Right, that's not exactly where I'm thinking of, but it's close.
All right.
Kindinos Island
I
next
know of
door.
it, yeah.
Yeah, been there?
A couple times.
Um, do you know anything about the Majer family?
Let me roll. I think I remember something about a smuggler's hollow run by the Majer. At least the name came up. Why?
Um, that was who I was just before I was me.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. All that shit about past lives.
Yeah, hard to forget.
You were a Majer.
I was married to one.
Okay. Okay. Um. All right. Let me think on it for a minute.
If the name Remus Majer or Atlantis Majer means anything, that might be some really valuable information for me.
Okay. Here's what I remember about Majer, just as the word comes up. Whenever you're out pirating, you need to have a place for your boat to not get found, right? After you've harvested your hull from nearby merchant ships, you need a place to go to ground, if that makes sense, to resupply, repair, etc. There was a cove on Candinos, one that we used a couple times, not commonly, but it was one that we did use. It was a smuggler's den, and they called it the Mouth of Majer.
Do you think they owned that place?
I mean, I don't remember the name Atlantis or Remus, but I do remember the name Majer. I remember thinking, well, what's it called when a sentence has the same letter at the beginning of the words?
An alliteration.
That's it. I had that thought a couple times, every time we went there. It was a fairly nice place because it was so secluded. It was beneath a cliff. You couldn't see it unless you knew where it was, and you went in through some shallows that were extremely dangerous.
So it was like a thing that you in the business, and she kind of raises an eyebrow, knew about, but it wasn't like an official...
I didn't know about it until my captain took us there.
Right, but like pirates knew about it.
Aye.
But it's not like the Majer family was sponsoring this location or it was attached to their house or anything like that.
I don't know. There was no house there. It was a well-kept dock. Remember that. It was well lit.
Okay, well that gives me something to work on. If it has anything to do with the Majer family, it has something to do with my dad, ex-husband.
Was he a smuggler?
I don't know. I mean, he told me growing up, he didn't tell me his last name was Majer. He changed it because he was in hiding.
Right.
And he raised me in Saris.
Completely sounds like the thing a smuggler would do, right?
Well, so he was... Did I tell you the whole story?
You gave me a good part of it.
There's a lot going on. Right, my most recent predecessor was married to him.
Right.
And she died in a raid.
Okay.
On the Majer household. Because
in Candinos.
Yes, because of some necromantic activities.
How long ago was this?
How old am I? 18 years ago.
Okay. Well, I was last at the mouth of Magia about 3 years ago.
So he wouldn't have had anything to do with it at that point.
Right. So the upkeep or whatever was probably not done by him. But, you know, maybe it was someone he knew, or... You don't have just a smuggler's cove named after you for no reason.
Right, there's history there.
Yeah.
Maybe he still has family there that I just don't know about.
Could be.
I mean, it's not like I'm related to them anyways.
Right, because he's not actually your father, he's your ex-husband.
Yep. It's so weird to hear that out loud.
Yep, I said it.
Bone-chilling, even.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I thought I could ask a local, but you were the closest I could get.
Right. After saying that, we're probably not going to fool around, are we?
Lorna tries her best not to look a little disappointed.
Well, I mean, if you want to, he still can.
And I didn't even have to roll a deception check for that. He just knew.
You said that.
Oh, no. Well, I was saying that out of character.
Oh, okay.
Silly boy.
Roll deception.
Boop.
I misunderstood.
I understand your misunderstanding. Pretty freaking good.
That's pretty good. Sierra might be thrown by that. Let me roll. Nope. You rolled a 26.
Oh, shit. He's so good at this. When he went,
Ranger.
I thought he rolled like a 3.
No, he rolled super high.
Okay.
He says, when he sees that you're kind of feigning it, he says, "Aye, all right. I mean, we can."
You know when you like eat something you don't like, and then you try to wash it down with something that tastes good?
I'm happy to help you wash it down.
That's just so. Fuck you, and she'll just take it by the face.
Okay.
There's no romance.
You and Tierra spend some time together.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go ahead and roll me just a wisdom check, not a saving throw.
Mm-hmm. Pretty fucking good. I saw 22.
Yeah. You manage to kind of cleanse your mind of the awkwardness, and you enjoy the moment. You have a good time. You let off some steam, as it were.
As it were.
As it were. And as you and Tier finish up, get cleaned up, and then consider heading down to the Merry Guard, that is where we will stop tonight's session. Thank you for playing with me, and to everyone watching, thank you for watching. We love you. And I look forward...
Thank you for watching Lorna's Info Dump.
Yes. Goodness gracious. And I look forward to playing again next week.
How?
Until then, have a good night.
Bye.